This is a Shock podcast.
Shock. The C Word with Callista. Okay, welcome back to the C Word with me, Callista. It has been a while. I'm so excited to get back into it. Starting strong as well with a guest that you would have heard on our radio a lot. So Airliftz is a Malaysian rapper and a singer who has overcome a lot of obstacles to get to where he is today, which honestly is at the top of his game. He's been exceeding all limitations while staying true to himself. Airliftz, welcome to the C Word.
Hello, everyone. What's good? Thank you, Callista, for having me on C Word. It means a lot. Thank you.
It means a lot that you're here, actually. Let's start from the beginning. Why Airliftz? I know it's kind of like a play on your name, right?
Well, why Airliftz? Because my real name is Alif. Alif, an Arabic name, number one, the first letter of an Arabic letter, Alif. But, I want to make it cooler. So Airliftz, because it just sounds kind of similar to my real name. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Airliftz is basically, an airplane dropping supplies. And I see myself as the airplane dropping songs. Those are my supplies to a lot of people. Yeah.
It's actually really cool. I never thought of it that way, but it makes sense.
I don't know. I've been trying to get rid of the Z, but then without the Z on it, this kind of feels too formal. So having a Z on the name is okay, that looks cool.
Yeah, I feel like without the Z, it'd be missing something,
Yeah.
So if you go all the way back to before Airliftz was a thing, to Alif, how were you as a kid? What was your childhood like?
Well, my childhood was pretty decent, I guess. Mom bought me a lot of Hot Wheels. That's the first thing that came to mind. But yeah, and I was a kid, I spent a lot of time just being at home and doing my own stuff. I don't really go out there and, reach out to people. I think I'm an introvert. I like to be in the house. Even my mom said that, Alif, ever since he was a kid, he knows how to bring himself, by himself, go here and there and do his own stuff. And then that's true. Up until this day, I enjoy being alone and having my own space and time.
It's always this really weird thing, right? I find because a lot of introverts are actually in the spotlight, which seems counterintuitive.
Being in the spotlight just kind of makes us feel okay, but okay, now it's too much. All right, I'll go back in. I think as introverts, we just like to have our own space. For me, it just kind of makes me feel like an arrogant person, but I'm not being one. It's just that I just have my own things to do, and I don't like people. I love people, but I'm not sure about interacting. My social skills is very bad.
And it's always been like that. So even as a child, you preferred your own company over hanging out with
yes.
big groups of people?
Yes. I mean, I have a few friends back then, but I only stay with the same circle. When I hit primary school, I have the same 5 sets of friends from primary school up until this day that I hang out with. I just like to keep my circle small. I don't like to have so many people in a circle, or else there'll be too much energy having to put out. So, yeah. I
guess you've definitely had to overcome a lot of obstacles. I feel like everyone in the entertainment industry has to overcome a lot of obstacles. But I know one of the biggest things you've had to deal with is physical. So you were actually born without the nose cartilage, right?
Yeah, on my right side.
I mean, I know it might be a sensitive subject, but could you tell me more about what that means?
It's not really a sensitive subject. I'm open to talk about this because, maybe it can help people out there that's dealing the same thing as me. So I was born in Asunta PJ Hospital, and one of the doctors just kind of messed up the operation because I was born with a cleft lip. A really big one that attached to my nose. So the doctor actually accidentally removed the right side of my cartilage. And, I was a baby, so it's really, really impossible for them to fix that back. So I had to be transferred to Hospital and then to General Hospital in Chalkit area. And there's this doctor. His name is, I don't know why, but ever since I was a kid, I kept calling him Dr. Arifin. He managed to fix my cleft lip. Then, at least made me look a lot normal compared to how it was when I was a baby. But then, like, it's a battle that I had to deal with, going to multiple surgeries when I was a kid, having to skip school for a month or two just because I need to deal with my surgery. And then the doctor is the loveliest person I've met my entire life. A doctor that was willing to take care of me since I was a baby, and he made a promise to me, up until 18 years old, I will still take care of you. I want to make sure that you be what you want. Yeah, he retired when I was 18. I tried to reach out to him. We went back to GH and we found out he retired. And then we found out where he was. He was in Hospital Selayang. There's this ITM Selayang that handles like medical students. So he was there. He's like, he said that, he was waiting for me to come because now you're finally 18. So what do you really want to do with, yourself? Now I want to give you the option to whether you want to continue with this or you want to just be you. And, that relationship with the doctor is very special to me because, he, even when he was retired, he was really trying to put 100% on me. Just like, I really want to make sure that you're doing good, but I can't handle all of these things anymore. I'm going to make sure my students will help you out throughout this whole stuff. And I'm going to be there to check on you at all times. So I was like, okay, thank you. And he moved back to Sarawak recently, past few years. But yeah, that's the history of the whole thing. And I don't know, I was supposed to talk about my nose, but then I just kind of remembered about the doctor. Yeah, he's a lifesaver. He's he's an angel. Yeah.
That's a really nice story actually, because I feel like we always hear about the bad parts about going to hospitals and seeing doctors, but it's always, you hear more about the bad than the good because those are the sensational news. But when you actually get a good story, it's really like heartwarming.
Yeah. It's just the doctor, if I got a bad doctor, I wouldn't tell you any of this neither.
It's true. But so having to go through all of that, like, how did it impact you, like, growing up? Because it couldn't have been easy, right?
It kind of mentally drains me out because, you see your classmates just dealing with their everyday life, going to school normally, having fun, playing football, riding on bicycles. Up until this day, I don't know how to ride a bicycle. I mean, I have to be honest because it's just a trauma because my mom always kept telling me that if you ride a bicycle, if you fall down, that, then something will happen to your face and it's going to hurt you a lot. So that fear has been implanted in me since till this day. But yeah, it was tough, just seeing everyone living a normal life and you just there like, I wish I could do the same. Or, having to go to the hospital a couple of times also just kind of like put me in a, like kind of a guilt trip because we came from a very poor family. My mom had to take care all of us, 5 of us siblings. I'm the last one. And my dad wasn't around when I was growing up. He was out there. And yeah, my mom just had to put out all the energy. She quit her job, took care of me ever since I was a baby. She literally quit her job just so she could take care of me. And yeah, ever since till I was 18, she was bringing me down to hospital and check, things out. And it just kind of puts me on a guilt trip because like, if I wasn't born this way, then she doesn't have to go through this. She could have continued her job and like, live a sustainable life and, put a better mental state to my other siblings instead of me. Because my other siblings was, because, internal family stuff between my mom and my dad, my brothers had to, some of them had to quit school at a very early age, like 14 years old. It was already out in Seremban, Malacca, just trying to hustle, just trying to do things. That's their source of income because my dad wasn't around. And my mom, the only thing that she had to deal with was, waiting for my dad to give, in Malay, we call it nafkah. And, she had to wait for that every month. He gave us, but then he never really appeared. But yeah, I think I kind of got straight away from the main topic. Sorry about that.
It's good. It really helps paint the picture of like the smallest thing, like you don't even think about it, could impact more than like one person's life, right? It impacts the entire family. So it must have been like very tough. So how did you navigate this whole individuality, self-worth kind of situation?
I admire my sister, my first one. She's different in the family. She's the first one in the family. And, just seeing her flourish, being herself, however she wants, she's proud of herself. And that just kind of like plant on me too. Like I should be proud of myself. Hearing her stories of what she had to go through. And I'm like someone that I can relate in the family. So to have her in my life, it's life changing. Having all of that is, shape me to a person I am now, to really love myself and to really understand yourself. Because like last time when we talked about individuality, like I told you earlier, my mom told me that I know how to carry myself away, doing things on my own, because I feel like I don't fit in any boxes. I don't fit in anywhere. So I need to train myself. Without me realizing I've been doing that since I was a kid, it's crazy. It just shows that I've been trained to do it. But then when you get older, you tend to realize a lot of things like, yo, something is really messed up here. Like, why am I like this? And then looking at yourself again in the mirror, like, oh, snap. I know why, because I'm different. It breaks me a lot of times, honestly, really, like ever since I was a kid up until this day. And I had a history when before COVID, trigger warning. And I hope to those that's listening right now, I hope this helps you too. I was overdosed on pills, 24 pills inside my body, wanting to commit a suicide because, I lost my self-worth. I lost myself. I lost my mind. And I woke up in a hospital with my mom on my side and my sister, and they were there and they were holding me tight, like, whatever you need, we're always here for you. Please tell us what you're feeling, because I don't know how to bring that out in my family, because everyone was quiet, all to themselves, Everyone was just like, because everyone had to deal with their own problems. Dad wasn't around. Mom is having to deal with a lot of stuff, and we all are being trained to keep thoughts to ourselves and just deal with it and man up, like, okay, we got to do this.
I feel like that's the Asian culture as well, right? Like whenever you have problems, you kind of have to keep it to yourself. Like you don't really have these kind of conversations within the family.
It's so hard. Yeah, you don't see that a lot in Asian culture. When you look on the West culture, like everyone's like, oh, like, son, what's wrong? Like our dads would just be like, huh.
It's true.
Like
it's true.
that's there's no response other than that. Like, oh, whatever. You just gotta pray to God, or this is quite sensitive things I'm saying, but like these are the reality. I spent hours praying, reaching out to God, hopefully that this pain or whatever that's triggering my mind will be away, and I try to work myself towards it, but sometimes it just gets to you. It's not really about between you and God. Sometimes it's just a human being. It's part of life. It's how you deal with it. So yeah.
Are things better now for you? Have you managed to overcome all the the mental health issues yet?
Well, I mean, slowly getting there. I wouldn't say I'm 100% like, oh, I'm happy and proud of myself. I love myself, because in the end of the day, we're all human beings. There's going to be ups and downs, but I realize all of that. Instead of seeing one thing in a single perspective, I try to see the same thing in different perspective. Why it happened, how it happened. What can we change? How do we change? Or, asking myself those questions instead of like, oh, I'm miserable. Because I realized when I woke up in that hospital, see my mom tearing up, and I just realized how messed up I was. Like I broke her heart, seeing her like that. But she wasn't like, oh, just, if you do this, like, no, she was there. Like she was trying to be there for me. And for me, my heart, my mind, she was like asking me questions. Like that is the craziest thing ever happened in my family, because I never really got to witness that. It's just kind of shaped us all. Like communication in the family became a lot better, between everyone, between the siblings and me and my mom. Just like we ask each other, like, how are you? We check up on each other nowadays. So it's great. And without this lovely person I have on my side, looking at her right now, she's an angel too. She helped me a lot with trying to understand these questions, trying to see things in different perspective. We opened up books and reading about how to do the work by Dr. Nicola Pera, where how to deal with childhood traumas, basically. So a lot of amazing people that helped me out with this. So not just me. Yeah.
So would you say like the biggest thing that helped you through the darkest times would be your relationships with like your family and other people?
Yeah. So they're the reason why I'm still here. My mom is the reason why I'm still here. My family is the reason why I'm still here. My girlfriend is the reason why I'm still here. Yeah. My friends too. Shout out to the homies. Forget
Friends are
about them.
actually really important, and I think like the
Yeah.
pandemic kind of like taught us that, right? Like when you can't go out and connect with people, that's
Mhm.
the biggest thing that will affect your entire
Yeah.
life. It's connecting with human beings.
I mean, if you don't mind me asking, like, how was it for you? How did you deal with COVID that time, with the whole pandemic?
I didn't realize like I was affected by it until probably the end of 2021, early this year. So 2020, I was
Mhm.
great. Like it was new. We were so busy with
Mhm.
work. Work kept us very busy the first
Mhm.
lockdown. So it didn't really affect me per se. But like
Yeah.
2021, I think it got too long. And I'm
Mhm.
an extrovert. I need
Yeah.
human connection. And I didn't realize
Yeah.
that was a problem
Yeah.
until we went back to work, when we went back to the studio, when we went back to the office. And when I started interacting with people again, I realized that I hadn't felt like myself for months and I just didn't realize it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think the pandemic actually, I'm someone who always believes that there's a silver lining to everything. And I think like the pandemic, the silver lining is really bringing us back to kind of realizing and understanding what is actually important in life. We're
Yeah.
kind of forgetting the foundation of everything, which is our
Yep.
family
Yeah.
and our relationships and
I
our
agree.
friendships. Yeah.
That's a really good point you brought up there, because that's what I felt throughout the whole pandemic too. Because like you said, 2021 was pretty stressful to me, because like 2020 was already like messed up. Like, okay, 2021 is getting better. Everyone had that, everyone shared the same vision. 2021 is gonna be could be a better year, and then boom, another lockdown, and everyone just going all down, and including me. But yeah, I guess now we're in 2022. Hopefully we'll do better. Yes.
I actually saw this, I can't even remember who wrote it, but it's on social media. And someone
Mhm.
said the pandemic brought us back to the way
Mhm.
that we were supposed to live. I mean, if we were
Yeah.
privileged enough to not have been affected and have to, go through financial
Yeah.
struggles and everything, for people who were blessed and lucky like us, we were brought back to how it was supposed to be, where you have time to yourself. You don't have
Yeah.
to spend time stressing in traffic jams. You focus
Yeah.
on art. You do things that
Yeah.
you enjoy.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed my whole perspective of how life has been. Because instead of just being like work, 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 now it's like, what
Yeah.
do I like?
But it's a total opposite for me when you said art, right? Because music is a form of art and also is a part of my career. So during pandemic, I couldn't create anything at all, because like my mind is just blocked between these four walls. Like I haven't seen the sun. I don't know what time I wake up. I don't know what time I eat. So I couldn't get anything out of my head. So I was like, okay. Then, I spend my time just playing a lot of video games. I tried to start streaming too. Everyone was trying to do the same thing, but I was like, nah, I'm just gonna play for fun. But I made a lot of friends throughout the entire world. Friends from Germany, friends from Thailand, Singapore. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I mean, you win some, you lose some. There's a pros and cons in it. You know what I mean? So that's cool.
It was very different. And I think
Yeah.
like that was how we communicated with people like internationally,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
again another silver lining.
Yep. I agree.
I actually want to talk to you now about like your music, because I know you just signed to a new record label, and you're actually the first artist to be signed to this label, Red Records. So how did you make that decision? Because it must have kind of been like a leap of faith, right? Signing with a new label instead of like a more established, bigger label. So why was that decision made?
Well, why was that decision made? That's a good question. I don't know where to start. It's funny because throughout this whole career, I've been working with Jen a lot, and just to clear things out with people. No, we don't have any feud or any problems against each other. Like, we're really trying to support each other. Jin thinks it was it's a good idea for me to be in a major label, because that was his dream, to shape an artist and get them signed, and then hopefully something bigger. So I took the leap of faith. Me and Jin saw this opportunity and was like, okay, we'll give this a shot. Because at first I was just like holding on to those thoughts. It was like, not sure about it. Like, really, major label, all these questions. Me and Jin's like, yeah, instead of thinking so much, why don't we just give it a try, give it a shot. And just hopped on it. Air Asia reached out to me for their diversity campaign. That's how it all began, came back home feeling inspired to just write a song for their campaign, and then turns out, and I got this whole deal. Great, now we got this deal. Like, me and Jin, like, finally you got a major label deal, man. So let's give this a go. So I was like, okay, let's do it. But it's always like just trying to take that leap of faith. It's like, walking on a really thin line. You just don't know what's going to happen. But it is what it is now.
You've got a lot of new things happening for you right now. So with the new song and everything. So how are you feeling about it all? Like what's the future looking like?
Wow, that's a really tough question. The goal for Airliftz is just to flourish as an artist first before being labeled as a disabled person. I mean, I had to highlight that because in every interview that I'm in, if you search it up online also, it's always about the kid who got bullied first and then he makes music. No, I make music because I make music. I don't make music because I got bullied. I'm just here to be myself, and I just hope people see Airliftz as just another musician. And my hope for Airliftz is just to be able to flourish. Music is not an easy career, you know. So
For sure. The
being able
entertainment
to
industry in general is just
being able to eat and not having to worry what I should spend on next month when I then worry about like not having enough income. Like I want to make sure that I have enough, and not really just for Airliftz, you know, like for Airliftz, I just want to be out there and perform and be the person I am. My dream is bigger than that. My dream is to be able to do what Jin did for me. He was the first one that picked me up when no one literally did. I want to be able to give this opportunity to, you know, because in business or in art itself or music itself is always about giving it back, you know, giving back to the community. I stand with the community, like they are the reason why everything is happening right now. You know, especially with the music coming from an independent background last time, like we had to grind ourselves, you know, find a way to make this work. But now with Rit Records, I hope that we are able to bring it to somewhere bigger. All that couldn't have done without Amir and TJ here. They put out so much, you know, time and effort and work on really just trying to elevate things together. So they're a real one for sure.
You've been doing this for like what, 6 years now, I'd say?
Yeah, 6 years. 6 years is more accurate, but like I felt longer than that because I've been making music since I was 14.
I was gonna say like 6 years in the entertainment industry is still considered pretty new, you know, like you're still building on yourself. There's still so much more that you are gonna be striving for and everything, but you're already thinking about giving back.
Yeah, because like to me, I believe in the idea of giving back since way back, you know, like you don't have to be someone who's really huge to give back, you know. You can give back in different ways. Like I might not have the things to give back monetarily. Ideas is a way of giving back. Just reaching out to this newer artist is idea of, you know, of giving back to, like, you know, just giving them back the feedback. So if, you know, some people came to my, you know, DM me in my Instagram DMs like, hey man, what do you think of this track? What do you think of this song? What do you think of this, that, etc. And I try to make time for that. That's the only way I can help to inspire other people. And hopefully that one day, if I'm sustainable enough, then, you know, I would like to do that. You know, I would like to give that back, you know, to give them the opportunity of what I had. It's not an easy career to take it, you know, like music career or any entertainment industry, you're putting yourself out there and you really have to bring yourself out there. It's not just like, oh, I put out myself out there, gain the numbers, gain the tractions, and I'm good. It's not just about the numbers. It's just not about how much money you make, because you got to really stay authentic to you too. But, you know, with that, it's not how much money you make, because you do need money. And I'm telling you, artists out there that's listening right now, y'all need money to sustain everything. Yes, you know, music is not about money and art, but then when it comes to the reality, if you're really trying to see this as a career, you have to make sure that you know what you want, you know what you need. That is very, very important. And you got to stand your ground and make sure that you got what you need. It's a lot of energy. It's going to take time. I mean, 6 years for me felt long enough already, but like you said, I'm still new. You have people like Joe Flizzo who's doing it up until this day. So you just got to maintain your ground and just keep progressing, and just, you know, collaborative work helps, and whatever ways you can reach out to other people, that's very important. Yeah.
I usually end the podcast with asking for your advice, but I feel like we've covered so much on this episode. So I kind of want to break it down into 3. So what is your advice for people who are dealing with, maybe like yourself, whatever you want to call it, like a disability or things like that?
Yeah.
What is your advice for people who are dealing with bullies? And what is your advice for people who are trying to break into the industry?
I missed out on the first one. Well, from my advice, I mean, it's very hard for me giving advice because then they'll just make me a hypocrite. When it comes to like this type of situation or this condition, it's very hard for me to give because I myself have to deal. I'm dealing with it still, but there's no limitation to what you want to do. Don't let your differences stop you from being what you want to be. Like you have the ways to do it. You have the ways to do it when you have the ways to do it that other people can't, because you're different and not everyone can achieve that. You're a whole different ballgame now. You're doing your own way. That's something special. So to me, just do you. I don't want to use the word less because to me I find it very offensive for people like us who always feel that. So don't ever feel that way. Don't ever feel like you're less or a burden. My advice to you is try and see things differently, perspective, and question instead of asking yourself, "Oh, I can't do this," or telling yourself, "I can't do this, I can't do that." Ask yourself, "What can I do? How can I do it? What can I do it?" All those type of things really matter.
I really like that because you saying you're different. Like there's nothing less. There's nothing, it's just different. And what is normal anyway? Everyone is so different, so unique, and everyone's like going through their own journey in life. And your journey is something that no one could replicate, right? So whatever you want to do, it's definitely possible. I actually really like that.
Yeah, thank you. And the second one
was your advice for maybe people who are getting bullied, like your song in Not Today.
Let me clear things out. Not Today is just not about being bullied. It's a lot to do with like the stories I told you earlier, and it's a whole thing into one. So I'm really just trying to tell everyone, like, it doesn't just it's not just about bullying. It could be about suicide or internal family problems that you want to change, or yourself that you want to change. So that's what Not Today is all about. And for people who are out there who's dealing through tough times, I like to work that. I like to word it that way instead of just bullying. And you just got to stick your ground. And for me, it's always about seeing things in different perspective and how to change that. But for people who got bullied out there, man, I understand what you feel. It sucks, but you got to stick your ground, man. Like, I'm not telling y'all to beat them up back. Just stick your ground and don't let it get to you. And it's as easy as I could say now. Is a very tough thing to deal with. But if I was you, like, what I did was I distracted myself by doing things that I love. It's tiring feeling tired, feeling degraded, or just feel less about yourself. If you guys ever reach up to that point, do something that makes you happy, because there's no point wasting time trying to deal with these guys, because at the end of the day, as real as it gets, you got you. That's that. On the real, stick your ground. You stand your ground. Just know you're able to handle it. That's that.
Yeah, I feel like there's always that light at the end of the tunnel, where it's like, whichever situation you're in, that you're going through the tough time, it will end and things will get better. I think that's something that universally everyone kind of tells you when they've gotten over that hump, right? Okay, and the last one, what's your advice for people who want to do music, who are trying to break into the industry?
For those who want to start out your career as a musician or as an artist or as a creator or creatives in this industry, know what you want first, know what you need. You got to prioritize what you need and what you want in your life and the things that you want to create. It's not just about blowing up and be famous and get racks and so you can spend it on anything you want. Because coming from a hip hop a perspective, like, yes, we're trying to live lavish, we're trying to get more chains. I mean, I was dumb enough to do that, buy more sneakers. And I just feel like we're doing that I don't know, some people just enjoy it. Some people needed validation just to tell that I am successful. This is how I'm going to show myself. There's nothing wrong with that. But usually people would just say that, do what you want. You're going to create until one day you're going to feel burned out that you can't create anymore. And then one day you're going to create until you don't have money anymore. So you got to make sure that I'm being so real right now to everyone, that you create what you feel like that's you first, and make sure that it goes out everywhere. And you got to know which industry you want to be in. Like for music, there's the mainstream, there's the underground, independent. Like, who are you trying to be? I had this conversation with DJ Goldfish at his studio last time. and he asked me whether do I want to make music or do I want to make hits. Those are two different things. Like music can just be anything. Like noise is music. Hits are just about numbers and streams and followers, and that is hits. You know, you want to be on stage, a pop star. Then you have independent. So you really want to know where your place is. You know, what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to gain more income? Are you trying to get more numbers, trying to get more spotlight, more brand deals? You want to be a model? You want to be an actor after you're singing a song? It's all up to you. You got to know what you want, what you need, and know your place, and just create, but also do things wisely.
I feel like when you were saying all that, like two words just kept coming to mind, and that was just like pace yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like whether it's with spending money, whether it's with trying to like create too much in too short of a time, pace yourself and like go for the long run, right?
Go for the long. I mean, it's always about the long run. If it's short term, then it's all up to you. But if you're seeing this as a long run, the long game, then you got to know how you play the game. Yeah, that's that.
Cool. That's great advice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And before I let you go, where should people go to see what you're up to?
Well, y'all can find me on Instagram at not Airliftz, and Facebook Airliftz, Twitter Airliftz, YouTube Airliftz, all digital streaming platforms Airliftz, and TikTok at not Airliftz. Yeah, I'm less active there, but there's content there if you guys want to see.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun. Thank you for sharing. I know a lot of it was very deep conversation, but thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, go check him out on social media, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Sure. Thank you so much, Calista, for letting me be a part of this C word. And I apologize if I did say anything wrong, and I hope everything goes well.
The C word with Calista.